She's had leading performances in My Fair Lady, South Pacific, Grease, and The Sound of Music, to name a few. Her concert work includes a range that goes from singing female lead for Herbie Hancock to soloist with various national symphony orchestras to hosting her own show at the Stardust Resort in Las Vegas. Her depth of talent is limitless. I am delighted to have Christina Saffron as my guest today. Welcome, Christina. Let's talk.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here.
It's my pleasure to have you. So first of all, how in the world is it that you got to grow up on stage? Was it exciting? And, how does that work, growing up on stage?
Well, it is very exciting. It's kind of like a dream come true, frankly. Yeah, when I was 9 years old, I auditioned for a production of The Sound of Music. That was the first thing I ever auditioned for, and was cast. It was in St. Louis at the Municipal Opera. I remember there was 400 girls, and luckily I was cast. And then I was, of course, bitten by the bug, and demanded to perform the rest of my life. And fortunately, my parents allowed that as long as I kept my grades up. And I went to a professional high school, and then I moved to New York when I was 17 and was fortunately able to get work and did my shows on Broadway. And so I sort of did grow up on stage and loved it, loved every second of it.
And so it was easy to juggle? I mean, school and singing and
it was at the time, but I really believe that our students today have a much harder and more rigorous schedule. The academics that I was taught, I don't think could get me into most colleges these days, but fortunately my focus was more on the arts anyway. But yes, I did have to get good grades or my parents wouldn't let me do what I needed to do. But yeah, I was just fortunate.
That's great. So you obviously love it because you continue to do it.
Yes.
And
yes.
tell me the benefit, the positive benefits as a result of having this type of lifestyle, growing up on stage and singing and doing things that you love.
Well, I mean, not all of us are fortunate enough to be able to do what we love. And of course, everything that you do is an expression of you. And if you can work at something that you love, it just makes your life so much more enriched. So I've been really fortunate. I knock on wood, I've always been able to do what I wanted to do in my career, so I've been very fortunate.
And tell me, what is it like singing with orchestras? That must just be so...
That is a dream come true, because picture, if you will, you're standing there with a microphone and 60, 70, 80 pieces, playing this glorious music, and you're just standing there and you get to sing. It's fantastic. A little slice of heaven.
Yes, I bet. And what's one of your favorite that you can remember of singing in an orchestra, and what song did you sing?
Oh, well, I fortunately get to sing a lot with orchestras. I just recently sang with the Oklahoma Philharmonic, and I learned a whole lot of new material. So it's really hard to pick a favorite. But from that experience, I just learned I was able to do the Get Happy, the Judy Garland, the same thing, the arrangement that she did in the movie. So it was pretty thrilling to get to do that with the Oklahoma Phil. And I mean, all of the stuff. I got to sing Defying Gravity, and anyway, I really love what I get to do.
How magical.
It is, it's magical.
So tell me, the Broadway duo, tell me about your partner, and how did that come about?
Oh, my partner's name is Norman Large, and I sing with all various people, but Norman and I have done a lot of symphonic work together. We met out here. He also did a lot of Broadway, and had relocated, and we were matched up at a concert, and then ended up being cast opposite each other in several shows, and so we discovered we had a chemistry, and so we put together our own package, and I think between us we've done about 13 different Broadway shows, and anyway, he's a glorious singer, and yeah, and great performer out in Los Angeles. A lot of people have seen him. He recently did a production of Sweeney Todd and Sunset Boulevard, and yeah. So we've been singing together for years. Yeah. In fact, we have a joke about how long we've been singing together. We can never remember how long we've been singing together, but...
So clearly you're life partners as far as singing goes.
Yes, that's correct.
So I'm curious, I don't know, in Hollywood, age definitely affects who gets roles and et cetera. So is it similar when you're doing off-Broadway or on-Broadway? Do you feel like you have been affected by that, or if so,
I think there's
how? Tell me
yes,
how.
I think just like in Well, first of all, the voice, unless you really maintain your voice, you're not going to sing as well the older you get. If you maintain your voice, you are easily able to sing as well. But that's one of the things that gets harder to do, just like dancing. So a lot of Broadway is singing and dancing. So that's going to, cut into what you get to do. But also, just like Hollywood, of course, most shows are written for more youthful audience, and but there's still some great parts out there, but they're fewer and farther between, that's for sure.
So when do you have to audition? I mean, do you still have to audition?
Oh yeah, of course. But right now, I haven't been auditioning too much. I've mostly been doing my symphony work and then teaching, which I love.
Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about that later. So you do some charity work as well. Tell me about the charity work that you do, and why do you do it?
Oh, actually, I volunteer for SGI USA, which is a World Peace Organization, and also Retinoblastoma International. Actually, my ex-husband and I founded a foundation that treats children with retinoblastoma, which is basically cancer of the eyes. It was an orphan disease when we first founded the foundation. My youngest daughter, Emma, who is now doing great, but she was born with retinoblastoma. So it's the only cancer you can be born with. And she had it in both of her eyes, and she fought it for the first 5 years of her life. She did end up losing one eye, but fortunately has extremely good vision in the other, and is one of the very lucky ones. And what we discovered was just that most people didn't know about it. They didn't know, because most people don't realize that babies can be born with cancer, as you can imagine. Right. It's just one of those diseases that goes undetected for a very long time, and if and when it goes undetected, not only is vision lost, but life is lost. So we were doing our very best to raise awareness, and so many things have happened with the charity since then. It's thriving, and so many children are being diagnosed so early now, and so it is saving lives.
And so is that genetic? I mean, how did you?
It can be genetic, but with our daughter, it was a spontaneous genetic mutation that occurred. But because she has bilateral retinoblastoma, she has a 50% chance of passing it on to her offspring.
I see. And so, but she can see through her other eye and everything else is fine?
Yes, thankfully. And she even, of course, now she's wanting to drive. She's 16, so that's our new hurdle. But, the DMV says she's fine to drive, so yeah, she's just going to take some driving lessons.
Does she have the singing and acting bug that
she
her
does.
mother
In
has?
fact, she goes to the LA County High School for the Arts.
Oh, she does?
LACHSA, yeah. She auditioned, and she's in the opera department there. Yeah.
Really? So you don't only do all the stuff that you do, but we're going to talk a little bit more about it later, but I want you to tell me what you do. You said you're a vocal coach, so we're going to just get to that. What is vocal coaching, and what's the difference between a vocal coach and a singing teacher?
Okay. Do you want me to tell you that now?
Yeah, tell me that now, and then when we get into the next part, we can talk more about it, but a lot of people don't know the difference.
Sure. Okay, so a singing teacher teaches technique only, and a vocal coach looks at the entire performance and critiques and helps to embellish it. I actually am both. I first teach technique, because without proper technique, you really can't perform well. You can't support your tones, you can't make the most beautiful tones. And then after that, because I've had so much experience of my own performing, I do my very best to help the student bring out the emotion that's necessary, to look relaxed. So it's a whole different thing. It's like step 2. Step 1 is technique, step 2 is coaching. And some people have tremendous vocal technique anyway, and they just want to be coached. And I can do that as well, but I really like people to have strong technique first, and that they can draw upon, and then do the coaching.
Then you kind of help them manage their technique or
enhance
their talent.
Enhance it, yes, exactly. Because again, it's hard to see ourselves. We need someone else to take a look.
And we are our own worst critic.
That's for sure. That's for sure. Yes.
And so, and also, you dance.
Well, I try.
I mean, you probably do more than that, but you sing and you dance. That takes a lot of stamina.
It does.
I mean,
I'm dancing less these days, because when you sing with an orchestra, you don't have to dance so much. But Even a couple of years ago, I was still doing Singing in the Rain, the lead in Singing in the Rain, lots of tap dancing, jumping over couches, and yeah. But
Jumping over couches?
yeah, I don't know if you remember that famous number, Good Morning.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
how they, at the very end, the
So
three
there's
of
no
them go on the
stunt
couch.
double for that.
There's no stunt double, no. It's great fun. That part's great fun. But yeah, I do my very best to keep in shape, and dance, again, is an expression of the soul, just like singing is. So,
Absolutely.
I'm grateful to be able to move.
Yeah, well, you're doing a great job at it. I watched a lot of your stuff on
Oh,
YouTube. I'm quite
Thank you
impressed.
so much.
So,
Thank you. Thank you.
we're going to talk more about the vocal coaching when we get back.
Okay.
So Christina is not only a professional singer, dancer, actor, and many more things, I'm sure. She also shares her talents with others as a vocal coach. Vocal coaching involves more than knowing when to raise your voice an octave. It's mostly about breathing. With the correct breathing techniques, you can expand your lung capacity, thus expanding your opportunity for a better quality of life. Find out how when we return on Let's Talk.
Riding a bicycle can seem like child's play.
But only if you're playing indoors.
Riding in the real street has real consequences.
Play it safe. Ride by the rules. Cars and bikes need to play together.
Joining us now is Stephanie Satie. She is an intense actor and writer known for her one-woman plays. She's had a frequent presence on television, and she is far from her last act. She continues to better herself in all aspects of her life and career. Most recently, she started singing again. Christina Safran is her vocal coach. Welcome, Stephanie.
Thank you.
Let's talk. So, you have technique, which is about singing, being a teacher, but Christina helps you with vocal coaching. Tell me what that is to you.
Well, that's about interpreting the song, but Christina really does both. I mean, I was looking for a teacher. I mean, I thought coaching was so sort of far away that I wasn't even getting there. So she gives me the technique, and then she coaches me on interpretation of the song, and that could be something as specific as where to breathe, or something to think about, an image to think about. What else? I mean, kind of how to phrase the music, and how to phrase the music so that I can use my technique and not run out of breath.
Exactly. So, you know, you've done a lot of stuff on Broadway, and with Christina's coaching, it kind of helps you bring more emotion. Tell me how it beefs up your emotion in your plays.
In what?
In your plays, when you're doing your plays.
Well, it's, you know, most of my plays are not musical.
Right.
But so I have to say that the technique that she's given me, I now use because we talked about it last week, I now vocalize a little bit before I go on stage, because some theaters require, so much projection that I end up either almost hurting myself or hitting a point where the sound doesn't come out, so it gets the air flowing. But I really did it to sing again, you know. And I'm not singing in my shows, but I really did it to.
Yet.
Yeah, well, did I say yet? Yeah. Well, that's promising.
Yes, exactly.
But I really do it because I wanted to sing again. I loved to sing. I hadn't sung in over 20 years when I found Christina. So I'm, you know, sort of wishing and hoping and maybe even planning. But so it helps me there. And if I don't have characters that sing yet.
That you're working on that.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about your background on Broadway. I know that you used to sing, but why don't you just kind of give us a little history
I have
of what
very
you've done.
little on Broadway. I
Okay.
did a lot of regional theaters. Actually, the only thing I did on Broadway was a revival of The King and I, when short Jewish girls could play Asians. You know? And I was a dancer primarily, and I was sort of too short to be a wife and too tall to be a kid. So I really just was in some of the crowd scenes and was one of the dancers. So that was my one Broadway credit, but I did a lot of national tours. I've done Zorba the Greek, I've done, I don't know what, Anything Goes, and a lot of regional theater. So I did musicals and I did plays, but so that was kind of it. And then we moved out here, I think, just because New York was kind of in a big slump when we were leaving. There was a huge migration from New York, and it was the mid-'80s. And then I did plays and I did television, but I just stopped singing. It was a combination of no time, no money, too many other things I was doing, and I always missed it.
And so how did you find Christina?
Oh, it's such a wonderful thing.
Okay.
I was at a fundraiser for a theater company that I'm now in. I wasn't then. And Christina was part of the fundraising. She sang Glitter and Be Gay, and I thought, oh my God. You know,
Heavenly, right?
Heavenly. And I mean, I knew I was never going to sing like that, but I thought, she not only has this glorious voice, but she knows how to sing. And then somebody said that she was teaching, and then she sent out an email to everybody in the company, I don't know, maybe a year later or something like that. And she was looking for students, and I just emailed, if you were the person who sang at the fundraiser, I'm really interested. And that's when I started.
So Christina, how long have you been a vocal coach, and how long have you been working with Stephanie?
I think we've been, I was trying to remember.
2 years?
About 2 years is what
Yeah.
I'm thinking that I've worked with Stephanie. I have actually taught on and off. I have a friend on Facebook who literally wrote me last week and said, I remember you were trying to teach us to sing back in eighth grade. So I have really, I have performed and taught on and off since I was a child.
Wow.
Literally.
And so, just so we can kind of talk and bring your experience and Christina's together, so what have you done specifically with Stephanie that has that's changed, made your singing, come to life?
Well, we have an awful lot of fun together.
We do.
Well, clearly you're having fun.
Well,
That's
because,
good.
I mean, she's such a brilliant actress that it's so great to work with her. I mean, first of all, she trusts me vocally, so she really puts herself 1,000% into everything she does, and she works so hard. And then she's such a great actress that when you just say one little thing, she just tweaks it, and then it's just right there. It's fantastic working with her. And all my students have different levels of talents, but there are certain students that are just right there, and you just say one little thing and it just clicks. So
Yeah.
she's one of those.
She's gifted, clearly.
Yes, totally.
And she's so fantastic that I have to say to her sometimes, like, what did Christina say? What did she say? Smile for this or do that. I have to go back to that, and because she's really
Thank you so much.
Oh,
Thank you.
thank you.
So, we talked about how it's really all about breathing. So just
A lot.
tell me about that.
Well, you know what? I have so many students who have said how singing has enriched their lives. But I did do some research. I'm just going to quote a couple. I went to doctors and professors, and this is what they say: singing has physical benefits because it is an aerobic activity that increases the
Oxygenation.
Thank you. In the bloodstream, and exercises major muscle groups in the upper body even when you're sitting. And it also has psychological benefits because of its normally positive effect, and it reduces stress levels through the action of the endocrine system, which is linked to our sense of emotional well-being. And then also we breathe. I teach how to breathe properly, how to inhale and exhale slowly and develop your lung capacity. And on a more serious note, in a study of 152 different heart attack victims, they all had serious breathing irregularity. So breathing in a less than optimal way can result in shortening of lifespan or illness. So I mean, it's not only fun, but it prolongs your life.
Yeah.
And it's an expression of your soul. And whether you have talent or this amount of talent or this amount of talent, everybody can improve. Right. And everyone gets the benefit from just working on their voice and singing and breathing properly.
And it probably feels good.
It feels great.
Yeah,
it
to
feels
sing.
great. It's a little bit vulnerable for a lot of people. It's but that's why I teach privately. It's a very private time.
So one-on-one,
One-on-one.
and then how long are your lessons? And tell me, how do you feel when you walk out of the lesson?
I feel great. And I also feel I'm going to sing every day. Now, I don't always do that, but I feel, I know I can make that, I can own this song if I can if I can work on it even a little bit every day. And even if I don't reach my goal, I can vocalize and then work on this one song. But she's given me such great songs. I think of them almost like monologues.
Yeah.
You know,
Exactly,
she's given me just wonderful
Because
songs
you're
that are
an
so
actress.
but they're so actable, and then they're also singable, you know. So I think I feel wonderful, and I feel like I've done something, and it gives me
Physical
something
too, right? I mean, it's physical.
Tell me
awesome
about the
sometimes.
physiological changes that
It-
you have felt as a result of the 2 years you've been working with Christina.
Yeah, I have more stamina in singing. I mean, I was able to breathe forever in yoga on, you know, on my back or standing up, because I take a big slow breath and a big slow exhale. But then she would clock me at the beginning, and it wasn't very good. I mean, it wasn't a disaster, but it wasn't very good. But as time, I went from something like 19 to 49 or
which is
something like
huge.
that, which is huge. So that was having a long, being able to hold a breath from 19 seconds to 49 or something like that. That's huge.
Well, if
So
you're
that's
not
like
actually
holding
holding
it.
your
You're not
breath, you're
holding
not
it.
holding. You're
You're expanding it.
slowly exhaling.
Can you give us an example?
I think it'd be a little bit boring on camera, but
well, I mean, like,
but basically, you're filling up your diaphragm. Your diaphragm is like a balloon, and you fill it up, and then you just, well, there's different exercises, but the one she's referring to, you just slowly exhale on a. And then I count for the students, see how long it takes them to exhale. And then sometimes they can't do it for very long at all. Sometimes we lie on the floor. There's all kinds of breathing things
so
that you
basically
do.
they're exercising.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's almost like, you know, the more you exercise, the more cardio you do, the
That's
better you're going to
correct.
get.
Well,
So
and it's
each-
again the oxygenation in the bloodstream. Yeah, the oxygen that's going to your bloodstream is, yeah.
So
it's
you feel
important.
that.
you
and-
feel that, and you can do more with a song if you don't run out of air.
Yeah.
You know,
Steam.
You can do more with
Steam.
life if you,
You
don't
can do
run
more
out
with
of air.
life if you
Yeah.
don't run
It's
out.
stamina. Yeah,
it
you
is
build
about
stamina.
So the other thing that I, you know, seeing some of the stuff that I watched that you've done, you're changing dialects. You're morphing into, I mean, up to 13 characters in one of your plays. So tell me, how has her coaching affected that? I mean, that's a huge part.
I don't know. I don't know if it does, because I've, you know, some people have some things, and morphing is just what I do, and I've done it since I was a little kid. And I was telling you before that I would come home from school, and my mother would say, "Who are you talking like?" And I knew I was, you know, I was talking like you, or talking like, you know, and I was just trying it on. So I don't know that it's done. It's just given me more capacity.
I was gonna
you know,
say,
more
you're-
capacity, but not for the morphing, because the morphing is just. It's just
It's her
how I
natural
play with the
ability.
world.
Yeah, yeah.
It's what I do.
It's innate for
I
you.
think so.
And
Yeah.
she's
I think
brilliant. You really, I mean, I've seen her
Mhm.
shows, and I mean, she's just so moving and so honest, and so. What was interesting, I saw the show, the one woman show she's doing now, and was there 3 of the characters, or were 2 of the characters in the audience?
What's the name of the
At
show?
least 2. It's called Silent Witnesses, and it's based on interviews I did with child survivors of the Holocaust. And it's a very different narrative than camp survivors. They were 4 and 5 years old. They were hidden, most of them. Some hid in the forests. Some hid, you know, just sort of passed as Christians. And they all kind of learned to keep a low profile. And yeah, maybe 2 or 3 of them were in the house that night.
So after the show, after seeing her play these people, I actually saw the people, and it was uncanny. It was, first of all, she was back to being herself, but when I saw them, I knew immediately, oh my goodness, she was just, that was, you know.
You saw the character
it's
that she-
brilliant. Yeah, she's quite brilliant.
So the coaching must have an effect on your emotional style in general. I mean, just it gives you confidence. I mean, clearly you're
it gives me more
you're
confidence.
talented for sure.
Well, I hope
that's-
so.
yeah,
I just
you're
put one
talented.
foot in front of the other and I show up. I mean, really, because if I think anywhere else, it either puts you in grandiosity, and then the flip side of that is,
Right.
you know, so you kind of don't want to go to either of those
course.
two places. But I think, you know, it puts a possibility out there that I might sing someday, that I might audition for musicals again, that I might put something vocal into something.
She's going to put something
Yeah.
vocal in,
I'm
because
gonna
I'm going
put
to force her
something.
to.
And it gives you confidence, obviously, when you're being taught
Oh,
by
or
somebody
singing
like
at
that.
a party.
Yeah.
Or,
I never could even do that
Right.
when I did musicals.
Mm-hmm.
I let all the singers sing. I just couldn't do it.
You didn't feel comfortable.
Never.
But no,
never.
didn't you mention that at a holiday party?
Yes,
got
at
up and
one
sang.
party I did. I sang. Other people were singing too, but I think that maybe I could do it. Maybe, but I would be like when I went to Russia and was talking there, I'd be in just sweat, and I thought that's how and I don't sweat that much, but I thought if I did that, that's how I'd be.
Well, quickly, just out of curiosity for our viewers, who are good candidates for vocal coaching? I mean, who would be? I mean, obviously Stephanie is a perfect candidate, but
yeah.
tell
I mean,
me,
I have
for
students
people who may be
are-
interested.
I literally have students who range in age from 8. My oldest student is 80, and I have students who have starred on Broadway, who are on television shows, or who are brand new beginners. So honestly, the only thing that I look for is somebody who's willing to work hard. And anybody who's willing to work hard can improve and can improve their life as a result. So anybody who wants to is a great candidate.
And you must work hard.
Oh yeah.
You must.
Oh, you
'cause
do.
when
It's
I
hard.
started
It's not
studying with
easy.
her, it was different, and I thought, oh God, I'm in some strange land, but I'm going to do it.
I have a new student who's kind of a bodybuilder, and he's like, I can't believe how hard I'm working here.
Well, more on that. Well, I'm sure you're going to get a response from some students, but you guys are great. Thank you so much for being with me today.
Thank you
Oh,
so
thank you.
much.
It's
Such
been
a
delightful.
Pleasure.
Thank
Such
you.
a
Thank
pleasure.
you.
Oh, thank you.
So our program is brought to you by the Commission for the Senior Community, focusing on preserving and improving the quality of life for Santa Monicans 60 and older. For more info, visit our website on the screen now. Thanks so much for watching Let's Talk. Till next time, be well, live well, age well, and why not sing well?